Wow, Amazon just cut 30,000 jobs. Profitable company, record revenue, not because things were bad, but because AI made those people unnecessary. And Amazon CEO, he went and put it in writing. He said, we expect AI will reduce our total workforce. Not possibly, expect. And here's what nobody's actually saying out loud. Unfortunately, your company that you work for has the same spreadsheet. You're in the column of cost, right? You're not in the revenue column. And every year technology makes that cost easier to cut. And I've watched this happen to people who thought they were safe in their jobs. Good jobs, stable income, just gone overnight. And I want to make a video about this, not to scare you, but because the window to get on the right side of this is closing. And it's not about quitting your job tomorrow. Don't freak out. It's about understanding what's actually happening and making one shift before it's too late. Because there is an estimation of 92 million jobs could be gone by 2030. Isn't that wild? And I wanted to bring this up of a topic of discussion for you because this is real. It's accelerating. And the people who understand what's happening right now and make one simple shift in how they think about money, they're the people that are going to be fine. Well, actually better than fine. And the people who don't, they're going to wake up one day to a HR calendar invite that says important HR discussion and realize that stable was never really what they thought it was. And I went from being a plumber, a guy just trading hours for dollars as well, to building a profitable portfolio of online businesses. And it does that whether I show up or not. And I've helped thousands of people do this. And what this is about is how do I get you to make the shift into owning assets as well, right? From employee to the asset/owner column. And it's never been more urgent, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad has been talking about this for decades. And Robert Kiyosaki, you've heard of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. And I'm going to back it up with numbers here, right? So firstly, the World Economics Forum's Future of Jobs report surveyed over 1,000 companies across 55 economies, projects that 92 million jobs will be displaced by 2030, right? That's not a fringe prediction. That's the world's largest economic research body saying in 5 years, roughly 92 million roles are gone, right? Less than 5 years. The IMF says that roughly 40% of jobs globally face meaningful exposure to AI right now in high income countries like the US, UK, and Australia. And the number will soon rise to a lot more. And in just the first 6 months of 2025, companies reported nearly 78,000 tech jobs cut directly attributed to AI adoption. And that's hundreds of people every single day losing their jobs specifically because of AI. And that's in 2025. And it's not just tech, it's not just Amazon, right? Yeah, Microsoft, 15,000 jobs in 25 cut, with the CEO saying explicitly linking the cuts to AI, reimagining the company's structure. Salesforce, 5,000 jobs. Accenture, 11,000, Intel, 27, Meta, Workday, and dozens of others, all citing AI-driven restructuring as the reason. Data from hiring consultancy Challenger found that AI was cited in layoff announcements affecting more than 48,000 jobs just in 2025. Now, here's what the media does get wrong about this, though. They frame it as that AI is replacing people. And it's partly true, but what's really happening is a bit more subtle and more dangerous. AI is removing the need for the middle layer of an organization. The junior analysts, the content coordinators, the middle level managers, admin roles, customer service teams, roles that exist because large companies need people to process, manage, and communicate information. And AI does this now, right? And then you've also got a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. He described it as a hollowing out the middle class skilled workers. And the top stays, the bottom stays, the middle part, which is where most people sit as employees, get just fully removed. And if your income depends on sitting in that middle layer, you're not in the best position, right? You're in the most exposed position ever in employment history. So I want you to think about something. When a company looks at its spreadsheet and they have, all of these numbers, you're not in the revenue column, you're in the cost column, like I said before. You're a line item, and every year technology makes it cheaper to replace that line item. And now 41% of global employees say they plan to reduce their workforce over the next 5 years significantly. And that's not a rumor. That's in the WEF report, not a not the worst case scenario. 41% of companies that employ people are already planning that. And the brutal truth that nobody's really saying, at a company, all hands on deck, your job is the single point of failure. One restructure, one bad quarter, one new CEO who wants to run lean, one AI tool that comes in for $100 a month that can do the job that you're doing. It's not security. It's fragility dressed up in salary and some annual leave. And let me show you what the other side looks like, right? The Federal Reserve's survey of consumer finance has found that small business ownership doubles your net worth on average. And that's before counting the value of the business itself, right? So flip the script of working for a business to owning your own business. Families without a business, the average net worth is $570,000, right? Average net worth. Families that own even just a solo business with no employees, just one person owning it and maybe being an operator as well, is nearly 1.1 million net worth. And family owning a business with just 2 to 5 employees, 1.6 million average net worth. So business ownership is the single most powerful wealth building mechanism in history, right? Not stocks, not salary, not a pension, owning a business. Of course, hey, I'm biased towards businesses, of course. And I do own real estate and other investments, but businesses can produce wealth incredibly fast because you can manufacture it yourself. And yet most people never even consider it as an option because they've been told since they were kids that the path is, get a good education, job, work your way up. And that path's clearly pretty shaky. Now it's being actively dismantled, unfortunately. So the alternative, what is it? And I know some of you thinking, all right, Jared, everyone can just go start. We can't just go start a business, right? You're right. Starting from scratch is stupid, in my opinion. I think it's incredibly hard. Most startups fail in the first 5 years. 90% of all startups fail. Most people don't have a scalable idea or the runway to survive while they figure it out. And if you're thinking about just income, why do you need to build something that produces it? Why can't you buy something that's already producing the income? If it's just a money game, why try to start a business? All right, buy something that's already doing it. You don't need to find something you're passionate about either. And here's what most people don't know is that's the thing. You can buy these things that are producing a great income already, right? They've already got the revenue, customers, systems, proven track record from day one. No guessing, no trying to find product market fit and burning cash for years to hopefully crossing our fingers and toes and thinking maybe this business will work out. And this is the type model that I've built my career around is buying online businesses. It's what my whole community is about. It's what all my clients do. We go out and buy businesses for them, right? So I went from plumber to having that portfolio, acquiring all these different e-commerce brands. And the key difference between an employee and an asset owner, when you own a business, even a small one, your income is tied to the asset, not your time. The business makes money while you sleep or you're doing whatever you're doing. You can have it set up that it doesn't need you at a specific time. And in my world, I see people buy business for $100,000 to $300,000 that cash flow $30,000 to $7,000. That's a 30 to 50% return in the first year on an asset that grows in value. So I don't know where you can get that anywhere from any savings account or even typically stocks or ETFs, right? I also work with people who have 100K or more, either cash or in equity against, say, their real estate, and they buy themselves $1 million deal or more if they just have 100K or up to, more than 100K. And with $1 million deal, so they're buying themselves a $250,000 income with $1 million, right? And funding it with 100K cash and the rest finance. And unlike your job, you can sell a business. You can't sell your job. You can't turn 10 years of salary history into a lump sum exit. But a business, a profitable business, it sells for 3 to 5 times its annual earnings. Normally 3 to 4, but 5 is generous if you have the right type of business model. And that's, turns into generational wealth, So like I said before, real estate is another path to owning income producing assets, property, rental income, equity that grows. The principle is identical. Own an asset that works for you rather than, you sell your time to someone else. And the point is that it's not just about one vehicle, right? You don't just need one vehicle. The point is that any of these are better than 100% dependency on salary from a company, right? That views you as being a cost in the column section. So I also want to talk about AI in the context of owning an online business, because this is where it gets interesting, where most people do miss the point. AI isn't just a threat to jobs. It's a weapon for asset owners. It's so damn valuable. When you own an online business and AI advances, you don't sit there hoping your role doesn't get cut. You pick up the tool and use it to make your business more profitable. You're on the opposite side, right? better content operations. AI handles the chunk of your production at a fraction of the cost. Better customer service. AI-powered systems can handle 24/7 queries without you. Better ad copy, SEO, email sequences, marketing, data analysis, all of it just faster and cheaper. And I had a conversation on my podcast with Dave Janines about AI and business systemizations. He's the guru of systems in businesses. And the core message was this: the business that thrives through this period are the ones that use AI to build leverage, not just cut costs, but to operate at a level that would have required a team twice the size 5 years ago. And that's the owner's advantage. You don't fear AI disruption, you deploy it. You're on the opposite side of it. So right now, 83% of small businesses are not using AI in the operations at all. And that's just a gap, a massive, rare gap that businesses are, using AI well and have enormous competitive edge. It can lower cost, high margins, better output, and so many businesses are not doing it. And as an online business owner, you're on the side of the equation where AI makes you more money. You can buy these businesses that are not being utilized by AI and put AI into it and get a far better valuation, right? Whereas on the other side, as an employee, you're on the side where AI does make your role redundant. So same technology, completely different outcome depending on which side of the table you sit on. And this is why I like to say, don't fear AI. Learn to use it. Don't confuse being good at AI or using AI tools with being financially secure. Using AI well makes you a better operator, sure. Also, using AI in your job, it can make you a better operator. But if you're doing it, then why can't the company just use the AI, right? So we need to be thinking about that. But the security comes from owning an asset, not just being a skilled worker in somebody else's business, right? And I want to get specific on this because I don't want this to just be like motivational rah-rah content, move you into like assets. I want you to leave here with something you can actually act on. And here are the assets that I believe are the most resilient through this AI transition and that are actually acquirable right now. Firstly, media businesses with like genuine authority. AI can produce content at scale. What AI can't do is replace years of earned trust, real like backlinks, loyal community, deep topical authority from multiple sources in that, with that expertise in that niche. Google's already penalizing AI generated spam. They've been doing it for years. The content businesses that survive and thrive are the ones with like real human credibility baked into it, not tied to just one person's authority either. Right? They're the businesses that we can go and acquire right now. They're in your price range because a lot of sellers are worried about AI and they want to get out, whereas we can come in and we can use it. That's our window. The next business is niche SaaS businesses, software that solves a very specific problem for a very specific industry with good recurring revenue, low churn, customers who are not going anywhere. AI improves the SaaS products when you deploy AI into it, and you don't need to be a developer to own one. You just need to understand the business, which you end up learning through DD and through seller calls once you've acquired it. And then the third one is e-commerce businesses with physical fulfillment. Real products, real supply chains, real logistics, 3PLs. AI optimizes these businesses so well, but it can't replace the warehouse, right? It can't replace the supplier relationships and the manufacturing or the fulfillment network. In every one of these categories, AI makes the owner more money if you deploy it well. That's the position that you want to be in, not on the other side. So do not go and quit your job tomorrow. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is stop treating your salary as a plan. It's not really a plan. You don't have much time. It's an income stream with a kill switch that someone else controls. These companies are cutting tens of thousands of jobs, right? And they're profitable by doing so, right? They're not just growing with you in the picture anymore because they found something cheaper, faster, and tireless. And if you think your company is different, that they'd never do it to you, well, Amazon, look at what they did, 30,000 jobs 6 months before they got the calendar invite. People had no idea it was coming. The shift you need to make is simple. Start thinking like an owner, not an employer. Start looking at assets, businesses, property, real estate, ETFs. I don't care. Like anything that generates income without requiring your time, even though that I'm biased towards acquiring businesses, just find assets. And also, I'm curious as well, and I want to hear this from you. So let me know in the comments. What do you honestly think about AI job loss? I'm curious. Do you know people that have been affected by it? Do you know jobs or have jobs or are in a job that is not going to be affected by it or could be affected by it? And what's your alternative? What are you doing to combat this? I'm super curious. I think it's a great discussion to have, and maybe I can collate everybody's comments and create a video about this as well. So if you did think this was valuable or made you think, at least hit the like button. It tells YouTube to put this in front of more people who do need to hear it. And if you're new, subscribe. Every week I put out a new video, and they're no fluff, as you can tell. Enjoy. See you on the next one.